Welcome to my channel Art Book Nook. My name is Kay and I review art and craft books. Today I'm going to review Passport to Painting by Susie West. In this colourful and cheerful book, Susie will show you how to preserve your memories using a style of painting which was popular in the 1920s and 1930s to promote travel. In addition to a history of the travel poster, you'll learn how to adapt your own photographs and simplify elements such as trees and buildings to create your very own travel poster which is special to you. This may be the place where you live, or it could be your favourite holiday destination. Susie's book is suitable for all artistic abilities, and while Susie works with acrylic paint, you can use whatever art medium you wish and achieve different effects. So let's take a look inside, shall we? In the introduction, Susie welcomes you to the world of travel posters, and wherever you live, her book will give you the skills and confidence to bring your own favourite places to life in paint. Susie has created 6 projects of iconic places around the world for you to follow. She shares the materials and all her techniques to inspire you. Here Susie tells you how her art journey began. I won't spoil this for you. You can buy her book and find out. She explains her business combines her most favourite things, which are painting and travelling. Susie hopes wherever you live, her book helps you to have fun painting your own favourite places. We have an interesting history and timeline of travel posters. Original prints of the early travel posters are highly sought after, and they can fetch high prices at auction. Susie will be using acrylic paint for the projects in this book, and advises that you only need a few basic colours, a palette, a few brushes and a suitable surface to paint on. If you don't have any acrylic paint, just use what you have. Susie's lovely book is focused on teaching you how to paint in the style of a travel poster. So paint along and enjoy the process. This section of the book explains all about the process of designing your own travel poster, what to include and what to leave out, along with information on the different techniques Susie uses for her own posters. When on location, Susie collects ideas by sketching and taking photographs. Susie uses her sketchbook just to make notes and record information that she may need later in the studio. She records specific details about the location and colours, and she travels with coloured pencils. Derwent ink tents are her favourite, fine liners and watercolour paint. Susie really enjoys looking back through her sketchbooks. They remind her of the places she's visited and they bring back happy memories. When taking photographs, all you need is the camera on your mobile phone. Susie recommends taking as many reference photos as possible from different angles and at different times of day. Compare the 2 photographs of the Art Deco building, Surbiton Station, on the right-hand page. Susie chose to use the photograph where the sky was darkening and thunderclouds appeared, as she preferred the strong colours and the contrast. Susie also records details of the location, such as the wildlife or flowers grown nearby, as these can add that little extra something to your composition. Susie reminds us we're creating a poster, not a painting, and we're free to use artistic licence and create our own unique compositions. The only requirement of a travel poster is that it resembles the location in an appealing way. Both of the travel posters on the left-hand page feature the same viewpoint, the famous 199 steps at Whitby in North Yorkshire. The predominantly red poster on the right is more heavily stylised. I'd be really interested to know which one you prefer. I'd love it if you could let me know in the comments below. Susie confesses her travel posters rarely follow any rules of perspective. Instead, she likes to focus on the overall movement of lines and exaggerate the curve of rivers and paths. This is great news for those of us who struggle with drawing. Most of Susie's posters stick with representational colour, such as blue for the sky, green for trees and grasses, etc. But occasionally she likes to make an impact with bold colour if the scene is something people will immediately recognise. You might choose to use a different colour in order to blend in with your home decor. And just because we're designing a poster-style piece of art, there is no hard and fast rule that says we have to stick with a portrait format. If the scene calls for a landscape format, then use it. So how do we know what details to include and what to take away? Susie states we need to keep things simple and look for simple shapes, avoiding fussy details like people and cars. Working from her reference photographs, Susie sketches out a drawing and sometimes produces a quick painting in monochrome just to check all the elements she's selected will work together. Simplification also relates to the colours used, keeping these to a minimum. Here you'll bring everything together before embarking on the painting. Thumbnails are a great place to start. These can help you decide what view you wish to focus on and from what angle. When working this up into a larger sketch, you can decide which details to add, remembering to include any lettering. The Getting Started section covers taking care of your brushes, how to hold a brush correctly, and how to prepare acrylic paint to achieve solid blocks of colour. Susie explains the very basics of colour mixing and how to make your colours lighter or darker and brighter or duller. When layering for a flat solid colour, Susie can sometimes use up to 10 layers of paint before she achieves the effect she's looking for. It's important to allow each layer to dry before applying the next one. Here are lots of tips and advice for how to layer paint for good coverage and how to paint in details afterwards, plus a step-by-step demonstration of how to blend two colours together. Susie explains in this step-by-step demonstration how to paint a sky. This same technique can be used for any large area of flat colour in your painting. If you prefer a softer effect, this demonstration will explain how to achieve a graduated effect from dark to light, and also how to blend two colours together. Clouds are Susie's favourite thing to watch and paint, and she explains how to paint stylised and more realistic clouds. Take some photographs of clouds whenever you see an interesting cloud formation, and then you can use them in your paintings. In the painting on the left of the right-hand page, Susie has used the cloud formation to draw the viewer's eye into the painting, and for something a bit different, she has painted the sky yellow in the painting on the right. Susie uses two different techniques for painting water, both of which are illustrated in these 2 pages. The first is to paint the whole area one colour and then add ripples to the surface to create movement. The second is to create interlocking shapes of different colours. Here are 2 examples to help you paint a shoreline. One is more realistic and the second more abstract. Susie loves to paint bubbles and foam in water and demonstrates how to do this and how to capture the curve in a wave. Architecture provides an endless variety of landmarks for inspiration, and Susie gives you lots of tips to help you find a good viewpoint for dealing with the landmarks of a large size and how to gather resources for landmarks or buildings obscured by cars. Here are several examples of how Susie includes buildings when they are the focal point. You don't need to include the entire building or paint every single detail. You need to keep things simple and only include what is necessary. Here are several examples of where Susie has included trees and foliage in her artwork, both stylised and more realistic. Overhanging branches can be very helpful when you need to frame or add additional colour to your painting, and Susie has provided an explanation of how to mix several colours using just one base colour. Her favourite is sap green. You can also use unconventional different colours too. Look at the painting's bottom right. I just love how Susie has painted the trees different shades of purple and lilac in the Cotswold poster, and the pops of bright pink in the painting of Windsor Castle. Susie often includes flowers in her painting to add pops of colour and interest, sometimes only adding a daisy or 2 just to break up a large area of colour. Here she explains how to paint flowers on top of a background. Here are some further examples of Susie's beautiful work where she's incorporated flowers and plants. I just love the combination of the purple and green in the Cranley Village poster, and Susie has provided a lovely close-up. An essential element for a travel poster is the lettering. Susie photographs her paintings and adds the lettering digitally at the print stage. However, if you would like to add lettering by hand, here Susie explains how to do this. On these 2 pages, we have a detailed step-by-step demonstration of how to add your hand lettering to a colour bar, with several things to consider when choosing a colour that will complement your painting. So what do you do once your painting is finished? I'm sure you'll want to display it, and Susie has shared how she likes to mount and frame her wonderful posters. We've now arrived at the projects section in the book. Here you'll find something for everyone, wherever you are in the world. There are 6 projects to follow along with: Amsterdam Canals, Sydney Opera House, London Tower Bridge, Mount Rainier National Park, USA, Lisbon Trams, Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. I once met a man who bought the old wood from the San Francisco Bridge, and he sold pieces of it and became a millionaire. He was quite a fascinating character. Anyway, I digress. For the projects, Susie is using Galleria acrylic paint by Winsor & Newton. Another good make is Golden. All the projects are painted on acrylic paper measuring 16 by 20 inches, and Susie has made the line drawings available to you for free via a download link which you'll find in her wonderful book. I will take you through the first project, which is Amsterdam Canals, and because they're all structured in the same way, I'll put the other 5 projects to music so you don't have to listen to me repeating myself. So we'll start with Amsterdam Canals. Susie begins by explaining what the scene is all about and why it captured her imagination. She then lists all the materials you'll need for the project and starts with step-by-step details of how to transfer the drawing onto the acrylic paper. We then move to her instructions for painting the sky and the buildings. What is very helpful is that Susie has provided a detailed chart to accompany each project, which lists the exact colours she's used and how to mix them. I've not come across this in any of my art books before, and I think this is just brilliant, especially for beginners who are not familiar with colour mixing and may feel intimidated by it. Next we'll paint the boats and sea, and once again Susie has explained the colour mixes required. Then we'll move on and add some details. What I love about Susie's projects are the detailed photographs that accompany her very clear instructions. It's almost like having Susie in the room with you. Now we'll add a few clouds and the final details and tidy up and finish off. And here we have the finished poster. Isn't it wonderful? If you're still watching, I'm sure you're tired of listening to my voice by now, so I'll put the remaining projects to some beautiful music, and at the end I'll provide you with some extra information of how you can find out more about Susie West and her colourful art. Susie encourages you to think outside the box. Why stop at actual places? Why not create a travel poster for an imaginary world or places from literature or film? And you don't need to just frame your artwork either. Why not have your art printed onto a mug, a tea towel or notebook? This has given me a really good idea for my own home. I think it will be lovely if I paint a poster of the landscape where I live and have that put onto placemats. In the Afterword, Susie hopes you've also caught the travel poster bug and enjoyed this journey through her travel posters. And included in the back of this lovely book are several templates which you can use if you prefer to add hand lettering to your own posters. Well, I personally love this book. I'm very inspired by it. The quality of the print is fabulous. It's really bright and vibrant, and it's printed on quality paper by Search Press. If you'd like to add some fun and colour and enjoyment into your life, I can highly recommend you get your own copy of Passport to Painting by Susie West. In the description below, I've put details of where you can find out more about Susie West and her wonderful artwork. And there's a link to her Etsy shop where you could buy your own copy of one of her wonderful travel posters. I've also linked to Susie's website, Instagram and Facebook pages. I wasn't able to find a YouTube channel though. And not forgetting, I've put links to where you can buy your own copy of Passport to Painting. I hope you found my review helpful. If you did, please give this video a like. It helps YouTube promote my channel to other people who are interested in art books. I try and post a new art book review every single week, so if you'd like to see more reviews from me, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. And if you found this review helpful, please leave me a comment below. I do reply to all comments. And if there's an art book that you'd like to see, let me know and I will do my best to review it for you. So thank you for watching, and until next time, happy painting.